ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणी। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः। Okay, you can unmute yourself, Prasad ji. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha
Idam tu te guhyatamam
Idam tute guhyatamam
Pravakshyamyanasuyave
Pravakshyam Nasuyave
Jnanam Vijnana Sahitam
Jnanam Vijnana Sahitam
Yajñātvā mokṣyase shubhat
Ijñātva Mokshase Shubhat
Rajavidya Rajaguhyam
Rajavidya Rajaguhyam
Pavitramidamuttamam
Pavitramidamuttamam
Pratyakshavagaman dharmyam
Pratyakshavagam Gamam Dharmam
Dharmyam
Dharmyam
Susukham kartumavyayam
Susukam Kartumavyayam
Ashraddhadhanah Purushaha
Ashraddhadhana Purushaha
Dharmasyasya Parantapa
Dharmasyasya Parantapa
Aprapyamam Nivartante
Aprapyamam Nivartante
Mrityu Samsara Vartmani
Mrityu Samsara Vartmani
Maya Tatamidam Sarvam
Maya Tatamidam Sarvam
Jagadavyaktamurtina
Jagada Vyakta Murtina
Matsthani Sarvabhutani
Mastani Sarva Bhutani
Nachaham Teshvavasthitaha
Nachaham Teshva Vastitaha
Nacha Matsthani Bhutani
Nacha Matsani Bhutani
Pashyame Yogamaishwaram
Pashyame Yogameshwaram
Bhuta Bhrinnacha Bhutasthaha
Bhuta Brunnacha Bhutastaha
Mamatma Bhuta Bhavanaha
Mamatma bhuta bhavanaha.
Yeah. So we were studying this shloka number 5. So we are studying two of the most important shlokas of the Bhagavad Gita, which through which Krishna is unfolding the understanding of Mithya, Satyam and Mithya, understanding the reality of things. This is Advaita Vedanta. Advaita Vedanta, see, so many definitions we periodically give. One way to say it is understanding the realities of everything I experience, I see, and myself also. Understanding the reality, not going anywhere. Going anywhere, anything other than Advaita Vedanta involves going somewhere. Correct? By now, we are beginning to understand all these things. So when you go to an ashram and you're hearing somebody, of course we respect everybody. In this world, there is nobody that does not deserve our respect. But you must be able to assess. Our mind is, buddhi is given so we can assess what exactly is being said. What is the end game? That must be clear. End game must be crystal clear. Then understanding that, in time we will get it. But end game is what? Are you going to suggest travel, or is your idea of moksha agatihi? Gatihi va agatihi va? This is the main question, right? Question number 1. Main question. That teacher must be able to tell you. Are you going to talk about going somewhere, or is it already accomplished? These are the only two possibilities. Okay. So this is what we've been discussing. So these shlokas, Maya tatam idam sarvam. He starts by saying, I am all pervasive. I pervade the entire world. So there is no doubt about this. All dharmas, Vishishtadvaitam also talks about Bhagavan as all pervasive, Vishnu all pervasive, Viveshti iti Vishnuhu. Okay. Sarva Vyapi. That much we agree with that. Jagad Abhyakta Murtina. So I am unmanifest, and then I am the creator of the world. And how does the world get created? Nothing ever gets created from nothing. Maybe I should put it differently. One cannot, even God cannot create a drop of water from nothing. Only Advaita Vedanta we can say this. And others also may say it. Okay. That is why scientists love us. And Abrahamics hate us. Abrahamics hate us. Why? Because we are going along with science. They say God created the world in 7 days. No. God, from nothing. So before 7 days, there was nothing. Okay, only God was there. And then out came the world. Come on, you are a fool. You don't, God, being God, you think He can't create? What a fool you are. You're bringing down God to your level and saying God cannot create a drop of water. No. From nothing, God cannot create even a drop of water. This is Advaita Vedanta. This is how it starts. So now all the science we studied in school and college suddenly says, oh my God, this is great. Law of conservation of mass, energy, everything. It's all consistent. You can't put law of conservation of mass in college and then keep all the books in your office room and college and then come back home and say, hey God, you created the world in 7 days. No, this dichotomy is not there in our study. Okay, so jagad avyakta murtina. Okay, matsthani sarva bhutani. All beings are in me. All beings are in me. Okay. Nacha aham teshu avastita. This is where the conflict is. All beings are in me, but I am not in any of them. This is This is not difficult to understand. It's not difficult because our pot is our greatest guru. So whenever you say who are your gurus, you must include pot also among in the list of your gurus. Don't simply say Gurudev and do namaskar and then come out. Don't forget this pot. Okay, this fellow has done so much service for us, so much service. He doesn't have a mouth, otherwise he can do wonders. Okay, and so this pot, clay says, I am in the pot. Okay, that's acceptable. That I can understand. I am in the pot. But I am in the pot means, you know, okay, there is, okay, let me see. Can you see something in my hand? Yeah, there's a rubber band. Okay. Now what they have done is when I'm not teaching, they fill up this pot with something or the other. The empty things will always get filled up in any house. There's no nobody in the house in the world has an empty container unless they have to protect the empty containers. Only then it will be there. Otherwise, there is no empty container. So this pot fellow also continues to work, and so there is some rubber bands they have kept. Okay, so this is a rubber band. So rubber band is in the pot. That I can understand. Clay is in the pot. Okay. Now there is a difference between rubber band is in the pot and clay is in the pot. That difference is what we are trying to understand. Correct? Clay is in the rubber band is in the pot. Okay, I can understand. Okay. And here is a tumbler, and there is some water in this tumbler. Yeah, and without a tumbler, the water can't be kept like this nearby, and water will just flow off. And so, yeah, all this I can understand very well. I am in the house, understandable. Clay is in the pot. Now, this is where we have to spend a little time thinking. And clay is in the pot. Is it exactly like rubber band is in the pot? Water is in the pot? No. Why no? Because rubber band and pot are two different objects. They exist independent of each other, and one can be inside the other. That possibility is there. But clay and pot, they are not the same order of reality. At least in this example. Okay, in this example, clay and pot are not of the same order of reality. Clay is tangible. I can touch, I can feel, I can smell, I can do all that with clay. Okay. But pot, if you ask me to touch, pot is not a different object different from clay. Unfortunately, there is some connection between pot and clay. It is not like rubber band and pot. Clay and pot relationship is not like rubber band pot relationship. Correct? That is the key here. And so, what is the relationship between clay and pot? Pot depends for its existence entirely on the clay, but rubber band does not depend on its existence on clay or pot. But pot's existence is entirely dependent on clay. Therefore, we get into this discussion. When Bhagavan says Matsthani Sarva Bhutani, in me everything exists. Clay says, in me the entire world of clay pots, clay objects exists. The way I am going to understand is what? Yeah, every object depends on clay for its existence, no doubt. Clay sustains, clay is the Vishnu of all pots. Clay is the Vishnu. Okay. And then what happened? But then he says, Nacha aham teshu avastitaha. Two ways of understanding that. One way is what? They don't support me. Second way is what? I don't exist in them. I don't exist in them. Hey, wait a minute. I thought you just told me clay exists in pot. And now, or pot exists in clay. Now you're saying clay does not exist in pot. Okay. Pot exists in clay means what? Very important. Pot is not contained in clay like so many objects are contained in a vessel. Okay, like water is contained in a tumbler. It means pot is sustained by pot is sustained by clay. Therefore, he says, Bhuta Brit comes here only, no? Next shloka, Bhuta Brit. Okay, that's where I'm driving the discussion towards. Bhuta Brit. Same word again, similar. Bhuta Brit. What is Bhuta Brit? What kind of word is this? Bhutani Bibarti iti Bhuta Brit. Brit word comes from the dhatu bhr. Bhr. Bhr means what? Dharana poshana yoho bhr. धारण और पोषण के अर्थ में भ्र का धातु उपयोग होता है. Okay, use the word bhru dhatu when you want to express the idea of supporting, holding, bearing, protecting, etc. Correct? That is when you use the word bhru. So bhru dhatu. So we do encounter bhru dhatu somewhere. Okay, and where did we encounter it? Bhibartavyaya Ishvaraha. Somewhere it comes in the 15th chapter. It comes. Okay. Uttamah Purushastvanyah Paramatmatyudahritah Yo Lokatrayamavishya Bhibartyavyaya Ishvaraha. Bhibarti iti Bhrit. Okay, that same Bhridatu. Okay, that is in the 15th chapter. So here it is coming. And so that's the idea here. Bhuta Brit. Therefore, 17th shloka of the 15th chapter. And so he's saying Bhuta Brit. I am the sustainer of the entire world. I am the sustainer. Just like the clay can say, I am the sustainer of all clay objects in this case. I am the sustainer. Means everything resides in me. Matstani sarva bhutani. Everything resides in me. Which means what? If I am not there, the parts cannot be there. Clay can say that. If I decide to walk away, no clay object can exist. That's the idea. Okay. So bhuta brit nacha bhutastaha. Nacha bhutastaha. Okay. Again, similar concept. I don't exist in these objects. Bhute tishtati iti bhutastaha. In the beings, I exist. That is not the case. Hey, what is this? Where is God? If people, as a kid, I used to learn, where is God? God is right here. God is right here. God is everywhere. God is everywhere. In the entire world, God is there. This is what I learned as a child. Now you are telling, Krishna is telling, Nacha bhutastaha. I am not there in all these beings. Okay? Means what? Exactly like clay saying, telling us, I am not there in pot. I support the pot, all right, but I am not there in pot. Means what? This was the satsang discussion last class, right? So those of you who missed last class and last satsang, you are welcome to follow up on that. Good discussions were there. I am not there in the pot if the clay says. Clay is saying, hey, pot's existence is highly shaky. Really speaking, I have to search for the pot. I have to search for the pot. Where is the object pot you're talking about? Wherever you touch, it is clay. Wherever you smell, it is clay. Whatever I see is clay. And you are saying there is a pot. Okay. So we will keep pot then. We will not deny that pot does not exist. But you can't prove to me that pot exists. Pot does not exist independent of clay. When pot does not exist independent of clay, how can clay exist? Clay say, I exist in pot. I exist in pot means pot's reality must be must be equal to the reality of clay's reality. Then only pot can say. I can say I am in the house because my body's reality and the house's reality are identical. Therefore, I can say I am in the house. No, no, I am outside the house. I've gone for a walk. But clay and pot relationship is what? Satyam Mithya relationship. Different orders of reality, completely. This is the crux. Ontology. There is a subject called ontology. You can Google and see. Ontology, ontology. Whether they study this or not, I don't know. Because if they had studied this and if they are teaching this in the colleges, etc., then more people would be aware of all this. Nobody has come and told me, yeah, I studied philosophy and I studied ontology. They taught me this. They should have told me. Somewhere, some of us would have heard it. So far, I have not heard it. Because in the Western idea, that concept is not there, and Indian people are shy about talking about all these things in college. They're very shy. We've been told that you should not talk anything other than what the Western ideas of philosophy and ontology. This one, Kavita the other day was talking about this also in our Kathopanishad class. Therefore, okay, Bhuta Bhrit, okay, Bhuta Bhrit, I am the sustainer of all beings, Nacha Bhutastaha. But at the same time, I'm not in the world. I'm not in the world means I pervade the world, no doubt, but that does not. Don't think that I am in the world. Don't. I'm not going to give a reality to the world like you have given the reality to the world. Okay. Therefore, nacha bhutastaha mama atma bhuta bhavana. Mama atma bhuta bhavana. Bhuta bhavana. Bhutam bhavayati iti bhuta bhavana. Creator bhavayati makes something exist, makes something create, creates something. That is called bhuta bhavana. Means srishti karta ityartha. I am the creator of the world. I am the creator. Because without me, the world would not have been created. I can't find anybody who creates this world. So you can look at me as a creator of this world. Okay. And I am the creator, Srishti. Karta, I am Sthiti Karta. Okay. Sthiti Karta, we saw Bhuta Bhrit. In fact, we should have talked about Bhuta Bhavanaha first, then come to Bhuta Bhrit. Right? First creation, then sustenance or maintenance. Okay. And how did I create this world? We saw this in the 8th chapter also. Okay. How did Bhagavan create this world? It's not difficult to understand. Thankfully, we understand an experience called dream. Thankfully, the dream is such an important example. And Swami would say that people who don't dream will find it difficult to understand Advaita Vedanta. But people who dream, who have dreamt, for them Advaita can be just readily available. So, how did I create the dream? How did you create your dream last night? Okay, this is the question. Last week we are planting some trees, some 1250 trees. Swami Pravidyananda ji has initiated the idea, and so each tree 500 rupees or something. So we are committing some amount of money through this trust, and we are planting some trees in a land that is leased by the government. And there's an organization in Coimbatore that's been doing this for a long time, and so we are now engaging with that, thanks to Swami Parudhyananda. And so we went there, etc. There was a function, and so there are a lot of employees there, and so they are planting these saplings, and they are designing it in such a way that it will be beautiful to look at when it grows in the next 1 2 years 3 years. And then after that we went another 5 10 kilometers. So it's about 40 kilometers from the center of the city of Coimbatore. And then we went there and there was a forest. Forest means not very very tall trees, but it's just full of bush. You have to, when the car goes there, it's very dark, but they've made a little small pathway, cut some trees, etc. And then she was telling us she said, I purchased this land 3 years ago. 3 years ago. And it was barren. It was barren. And you look at it, what? It's the forest now. Today I'm saying it's a forest. I'm seeing a forest in front of me. It was bad. She got all saplings and seeds and this and that, and then she filled up this whole so many acres of land with these trees. And today it's a forest. And she said barren, and I transported water through these water tankers from so many places nearby. Because she is an industrialist, so she has money to do all that, which is good. And so she did all this. So now I'm asking you, in your dream last night, the sweet dreams that you had last night, and you went on a camping trip and all that, and you were in a forest and you erected a tent and all that. And so how did you make this dream? How this forest did you okay, forest existed. Hey, forest existed, you can't say. Did you make the forest or not? Because it's a dream, remember. Your friends went to the forest, to this campsite. Did you put all these things together? Did you build a car that was not existent before the dream happened? And what happened? Every object in the dream, how did you create? Did you create like that lady who created that forest? No, it's not like that. I did not do anything at all. In fact, I effortlessly created the dream world. Correct? Sankalpa matrena, Shastram will say. Sankalpa matrena means what? I thought of a forest and the forest came. I thought of having a good time and I had a good time. Hey, that would be nice. And I think, I think we should spend more time dreaming. It's a nice experience. We should do that, So, so I thought of it, it happened. I thought of it, it happened. I thought of coming back home, I came back home. This is how life should be, I think. But then, that is called what? Sankalpa matrena. So how did Bhagavan create? This is a recap of what we studied in the 8th chapter, okay? Bhagavan's creation also is like that. Sankalpa matrena. It happened. Just from, and how did these experiences happen? I can never create anything in my dream that I have not experienced, that I know nothing about. Can I make that statement? No, Guruji, I don't think you're right. Because yesterday in the night, I dreamt of a forest. In this forest that we went, there were a lot of animals moving around. You know what? They're all rabbits. Beautiful white rabbits. And they had 2 black horns each. White rabbits, they have 2 black horns. I never saw rabbits with black horns before. In fact, I never saw rabbits with horns. So, Guruji, I think it's not. I think we do imagine things that we don't see. Yeah. So for that, our simple explanation is: horns, and rabbits, white rabbits, colors, and you're very good at. You're a mishra, All of us are mishras, right? So we know how to mix. We go to the kitchen and keep on mixing. All day long we are mixing. Something or the other. Something or the other we are mixing. Yeah, we need mixed up stuff. We can't say, okay, what do you want? You want pakoda? Okay, here is some flour. And then here is some oil. Here is some kari patta. Come on, just consume all of it. Anyway, stomach, everything is going to mixed up. Why take the time to mix up everything before and spend 1 hour and all that? Nobody says that. They're all good at mixing. So you went into your dream and you created this mixed up object. Okay, this is how it is. So Mishra, you're all Mishras. And so, but if somebody insists, no, it's not possible, this particular thing, there's absolutely no experience. Then we will say, okay, Vasana, Purva Janma Vasana is there. Vasana is a strong force in our life. It is also called Samskara. And how come this child prodigy is there at 3 years old? The child is able to say all these things. And where did the child study from? No chance. The child did not even get exposed to the teacher. And music, it is just, once it hears, it just repeats the whole thing. Vasana, Purva Janma Vasana is there. And your Purva Janma Vasana is manifesting in the form of a dream. And you are creating all these funny items in the dream. So you are gifted, my dear friend. And that's all we can say. So for us, we have no problem explaining those situations. And so the irony is, God created the world. I created the dream world. And the world that I created, I am afraid of that same world. I become frightened of the world I create. Isn't it funny? I am the one who created this. Generally, the creator cannot be afraid of what is created. Okay, generally. The companies, Tata and all these companies who are manufacturing so many products, they are not afraid of their products. They may be afraid of customer complaints, but they are not afraid of products that they create. Okay, but in this case, it's so unique. I create the dream world and then I run away from the dream world. I'm afraid of this dream. Fortunately, Bhagavan must also be afraid because this world is too complex, and you may be thinking, Frankenstein. How many of you know the word Frankenstein? Yeah, Frankenstein means what? The monster. It's a monster. Actually, what it is Mary Shelley, I think is her name, and she created this fictional story of one person called Frankenstein who created a monster, and the monster tries to fit into society, and nobody accepts that object, that person, that being. Okay, and so he's so upset, and he goes after the creator, Frankenstein. Frankenstein is the name of the creator, but we often use the word Frankenstein to refer to that monster. Correct? So that's the truth about this Frankenstein. So this Frankenstein got created. So Bhagavan is going to say, Vishnu will complain to Brahma, what kind of Frankenstein you created? I thought we were friends. You created all this mess and then you're asking me to take care of it. This is a discussion they will have. No. Such a thing is not possible because bhuta brin nacha bhutastaha and bhuta bhavanaha. Okay, I am the creator, I am the sustainer. Within brackets, we must also put bhuta layaha, which is not mentioned in the sloka. I am the resolver of this world also, which we saw in the 8th chapter. And it will come again later also. And so, okay, so let's go back to the shloka. Bhutabrin nacha bhutastaha. And this world was created sankalpa matrena bhuta bhavanaha mama atma. Mama atma. What is the literal translation of mama atma? My atma. The atma that belongs to me. So, generally we say, no, my atma. My atma is clean. I'm a very dharmic person. My atma is clean, right? His atma is clean. Like that we say. As though there is an atma that is separate from this body and sitting inside the body. And so, if you look at Shankara, what does Shankara say? We have to rely on Shankaracharya on these things, okay? This is where Shankaracharya is important for us. So, Katam punaha uchyate asau mama atma iti. And how come Bhagavan Sri Krishna is saying mama atma iti? What is the meaning of that? Okay. Vibhajya dehadi sanghatam tasmin ahankaram adhyaropya. Okay. Loka buddhim anusaram. He's saying loka buddhim anusaram. He's saying people, what they have decided is they have separated the body. They have thought the body is Atma. And therefore, body is I. Everything is I. Because I am old, I am young, I am dark, I am fat, I am obese, this, that. So this I, this body became I. And the real Atma they have forgotten. Correct? And body became Atma. Therefore, Vibhajya, Shankara is saying, Loka Buddhi Manusaram. Hey, going along with the thinking of the people that there is an Atma that is separate from the body. Like that, Krishna is using the word Mama Atma. Like that, Shankaracharya is advising us, giving us, telling us here. Okay, mama atma iti vyapadishati, like that Shankaracharya says. Okay, so now this tells us, this gives us a clue to the modern, so-called modern Vedanta. Modern Vedanta. What is modern Vedanta? You have that mama atma. You have to realize that atma. You have to experience that atma. Atma is another object inside. Okay, it's something inside. It won't come out. You have to self-realize. You have to realize. How do I realize it? Don't do Sanskrit, these talks and all that, logic, and all. You should come out of all this. Stop thinking. Okay, this logic will only take you away from all this. Our acharyas have written so many books. Veda has a lot of logic in it. Upanishad has a lot of logic. No. That's all not needed. Okay, you have to just sit and meditate and self-realize. Hey, meditation is important, but what is the self-realization you're talking about? Now, you just imagine one day Atma will reveal itself. This is modern Vedanta. Swami calls it Devanta, not Vedanta, Devanta. Okay, and I and mind, separate the whole thing. I've divided the world into two, I and mind, and then I have to realize Atma. Atma is mine, and I have to realize that Atma. That means I've made Atma into an object. Hey, the realizer is Atma. Do I understand that or not? This is what we are talking. And going about into all these techniques and this and that, and you have to self-realize. And then you have to approach Guruji after that. I saw a white light last night. Guruji, isn't that's self-realization, right? The discussion will go off somewhere else. There is no white light. Vedas don't talk about any white light at all. Suddenly these people come up with white light and yellow light and some flashes and all. If you go, finally they will have to admit this person in the hospital, because the fellow who does not do all these things is a better person to deal with, engage with. Otherwise they will take everybody else for a ride also. Therefore, mama atma, careful, taking it literally. We should not take it literally. Shankaracharya is saying mama atma means Sachidananda Atma. Mama atma, that atma bhuta bhavanaha, bhuta bhrita, bhuta layaha. Okay, same atma. Through Maya, through Apara Prakriti. Para Prakriti and Apara Prakriti we saw in the 7th chapter. So Para Prakriti is Akarta. Okay, Akarta cannot create the world. That is why creation of the world is as though. As though means what? Adhyasa. The world is projected on Atma. We'll come to that. We'll explore that further. But the world is there very much. Yeah, world is very much there. What is the relationship between Brahma, Ishvara and the world? The relationship is Satya Mithyam relationship. Or the world is what? Adhishtana Adhyasa Sambandha. Adhishtanam is, by now you know what Adhishtanam is. Adhishtanam is, clay is the Adhishtanam of the pot. So Adhishtanam Adhyasa Sambandha. What is Adhyasa? Superimposition. Pot is superimposed on clay. Superimposed on clay. That's the critical part here. Okay. So therefore, and then Laya also we should bring in Bhuta Laya within brackets. Also the resolver. And we are going to study in Kathopanishad. Yama is going to tell Nachiketa. He's going to say, Yasya Brahmacha Kshatram Cha Ubhe Bhavata Odanaha. Yama is explaining this Brahma Tattvam. Okay. Yasya is saying, and for that Brahma is giving an example. He is telling, the way he is telling it is, Brahmacha Kshatram Cha Ubhe Bhavata Odanaha. Brahma there means Brahmana. Yasya, for whom this Brahmana, Kshatriya and all that are simple food. Odana means, food means what? See, Brahmana and Kshatriya and all are very respected people in society. They follow Dharma. They are doing the greatest service to society is done by a Brahmana. Brahmana means what? One who is studying the Shastra, that kind of person, and teaching it, and following Dharma, of course, then Kshatriya, of course. So that those people are also just food for Brahma. Okay, like that he's saying. Okay, and then his next line he's saying, Mrityuhu yasya upasechanam. Upasechanam means what? Some of the Sanskrit students will know what upasechanam is.
Pickle.
Upasechanam means pickle. Rukminiji is saying pickle. So in Sanskrit classes, especially Sanskrit Bharati classes, they will make sure they'll mention upasechanam. Pickle. All the side dishes, in other words, the side dishes are called upasechanam. And he's saying, Mrityuhu yasya upasechanam. Yama himself is the side dish for Brahma. Yama is a side dish, it seems. Okay? Yama is telling that I am a side dish for Brahma. Like that he's saying, okay? And Shankaracharya here, when he comments, he's saying, Ashanatve api aparyapta. He's saying, he's humorous, he's a rare humor here, Shankaracharya. This Yama, who is not even fit to be eaten, still he is food, it seems. Fellow who is not fit to be eaten. He's not, you like that, he says, Shankaracharya is commenting. Okay, like that. So that Bhuta Brinnacha Bhutastaha Mama Atma Bhuta Bhavanaha Bhuta Layaha. So I am the Srishtikarta, I am the Sthitikarta, and I am the Layakarta. And so there Yama means time. Bhagavan must be able to swallow time. If Bhagavan is within time, then Bhagavan will need our help. Within time means he or she will be affected by time. Therefore, different order of reality. Time is one order of reality. Bhagavan sustains time. Okay, that we should keep that in mind. And so that asangatvam also comes about. That asangatvam means what? I have created this world. I am supporting this world. And when I support this world, when I create something, I have to maintain it. Okay, in our life, whatever we create, we have to maintain. Okay, and maintenance is not a small thing. Maintenance is not a small thing, and so it's a very big activity. But yahan par to maintenance is not. I am not. I am not. Don't think I have to maintain it. I am pervasive, but at the same time, I am asangaha. I am asangaha. Things happen. Okay, and therefore pashya me yogam aishwaram, right? Previous line, pashya, therefore look at this. May means mama, mine. May is mama, mine. My aishwaram, look at this wonder. Understand this wonder, not just look. Don't simply look and stare. Understand, avalokaya. Understand this is to be understood, not simply look at me and then be amazed and then say hello and then say some puja and walk away. No, pashya, see, understand, be clear about who I am. Okay, me aishwaram. This is the paradox. And understand satyam and mithya. And so the Upanishad language is what? Adhisthana Adhyasa Sambandha. The relationship between me and the world is what? Adhisthana Adhyasa Sambandha. This is the Vedanta language. Otherwise, Satyam Mithya Sambandha. If you look at Bhagavad Gita, the word Mithya does not exist at all. Okay? Does not exist. So it is only explained through shlokas like this. And only one place Mithya comes. And we have seen that verse. Anybody recalls that shloka? Mithya
மித்யா ஜெகதிஷ்டானம்.
இல்ல அது வந்து இது அது லலிதா சாஸ்திரம். இன் பகவத்கீதா so mithyacharasya uchyate sarva karmani manasa sanyasyaste sukham vashi namadvare illa so sorry not that that I कर्मेन्द्रियाणि संयम्य या आस्ते मनसा स्मरन् अहंकार विमूढ़ात्मा मिथ्याचारस्य उच्यते. That's what Satish ji said. That's the only place. Mithya, the word mithya comes. And there, mithya meaning is not the meaning of satyam mithya. Mithya, there it is mithyacharaha, false conduct, referring to a person who says, I am going to sit and meditate. Okay, I'm going to sit and meditate. And I'm going to get moksha. And this fellow has so many duties. And instead, he's sitting and meditating and thinking about all the things he enjoys in life and all the people he hates. This is what his meditation is all about. He says, mithyacharaha, that is false conduct. That is not going to take that person anywhere. That is the only context in which the word mithya comes in Bhagavad Gita. Okay. So, we are going to translate the shloka number 8.5 now. Okay. And the beings do not exist in me. And the beings do not exist in me. Okay. Okay. Semicolon. Look at this divine connection, glorious connection. Okay. Look at this glorious connection of mind, divine connection of mind, divine within quotes. Okay. Connection of mind within brackets to the Jagat, to the world. My connection to the world means my relationship with the world. Full stop. Myself, sorry, two words. Myself is the creator of the beings. Bhuta Bhavanaha, creator of the beings, the sustainer of the beings. Beings or world? Sustainer of the beings. And yet not residing in the beings. Okay, I'm going to repeat this. And the beings do not exist in me, semicolon. Look at this glorious or divine connection of mind to the world, full stop. My self is the creator of the beings, comma, the sustainer of the beings, and yet is not residing in the beings, or yet I am not residing in the beings. Okay, let's chant the next one.
Mahodaya.
Yeah.
So here the adhyasa is between the Jagat and Ishvara.
Here, what is the word you used?
Adhyasa.
Adhyasa, right? Adhyasa. Adhyasa means projection, superimposition. So yeah, I am projecting a pot on clay. That is what is adhyasa. Adhyasa belongs to me. I am the one who is doing the adhyasa. And adhishtana is always there. Bhagavan, Ishvara, clay is always there. Adhishtana. 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 Everywhere Ishvara is there. But now I am projecting what I call a world and everything else that comes from it. I am separate from the world. I am an individual. This body is separate from the world. All these ideas, I am a mortal. All these ideas are all what? Projections. Correct? Projection. When I am not a mortal and I say I am a mortal, what is that? That is like dream projection. I create a world and then I say this is a beautiful world. It's a scary world and all. Correct? That's That's what it is. Okay, so next one, Lakshmi. Okay. Yathakashasthito nityam
यथाकाशस्थितो नित्यं
vayus sarvatra go mahan
वायुः सर्वत्र गोमहान्
तथा सर्वाणि भूतानि
तथा सर्वाणि भूतानि
मत्स्थानीत्युपधारय
मत्स्थानीत्युपधारय
यथाकाशस्थितो नित्यम्
यथाकाशस्थितो नित्यं
आयुः सर्वत्र गो महान्
वायुः सर्वत्र गोमहान्
तथा सर्वाणि भूतानि
तथा सर्वाणि भूतानि
मत्स्थानीत्युपधारय
मत्स्थानीत्युपधारय.
Yeah, so yatha, so he's giving an example. And Shankara says, Yathoktena shlokadvayena uttamartham drishtantena upapadayan aha. Says, in the last two shlokas, uktena shlokadvayena, whatever artham was said, what significant meaning was conveyed to us, drishtantena upapadayana. Drishtantam means example, illustration. Bhagavan is giving an illustration to clarify what Bhagavan said. Okay. Bhuta Brit, Bhagavan is holding this entire world. So Bhagavan must be, it's like this, this weightlifting. If you look at this Olympic weightlifting competition, they're doing a tremendous job. The number of kilos just keeps on increasing. Hundreds of kilos they lift. And then they do this. And then jerk lift and all that they call it. And then they lift it up. That's it. And then after they lift it up, they don't have to keep on holding it, okay? Once it is proven that they have lifted it, they immediately drop it off. That's it, over. Game over, okay? Don't ask me to keep on holding it. How many seconds? 1, 2, 3. That's not the competition. The competition is, are you able to lift it or not? That's all is the competition. How long you are holding it is not part of the competition. So now Bhagavan is holding this Bhuta Brit. Okay, he's created it. Now he has to maintain it also, and it must be a very, very horrible task to maintain this world. Okay, just a minute. So that idea that despite being the creator and the maintainer and this and that, this job has to be such a difficult job and maintaining has to be difficult. And so just to tell that no, it is not like that, it's not like the way you think it is, he is going to give an example of what? Yatha akashaha. Yatha akasha. He's giving the example of space. Akasha here is space, not sky. Okay, space, space, and space. Similarities between space and Bhagavan. What are the similarities? Space is all pervasive. Correct? All pervasive. There is no place where there is no space. And no, I went to the temple yesterday and there was no space at all. Don't say that. Okay. The space is always there. There is no room for your body. That's all you can say. There is no room for my body. That's all you can say. And so, space is always there. And space always welcomes. And that's why we are all, without saying thanks, we keep on occupying space. And so it accommodates everything. Space accommodates everything. And there can be any object, there need not be any object, whatever. So that is common there. And then space is also what? Formless. Space is formless. Okay. No form. Space has no form. That is why, see, Akashaha, Vayuhu, Agni. Vayu also has no form. You can only feel Vayu. You can't see it. No form. Then Agni. Agni, the first entity that has form is Agni. That's why Agni Sakshi. We say Agni Sakshi. We don't say Vayu Sakshi, Akasha Sakshi at all. We don't say all that. It's not correct to use those words. Agni Sakshi means Agni is there right in front of me and I'm looking at Agni, Agni is looking at me. That's the idea. And so Arupaha. So Sarva Vyapakatvam, all pervasiveness, Arupaha are all similarities. And so that Akasha accommodates Vayuhu Yatha Akasha Yatha Akasha Sthite Akasha Sthitaha. Akasha Sthitaha means just as in Akasha, Akashe Sthitaha, in Akasha there is Vayu. There is Vayu, Vayuhu, the word is there. Just as Vayu is there in Akasha. And Vayu is there in Akasha means what? Hey, Vayu brings me nice cool breeze, it brings me all kinds of temperature, or it can bring me heat waves also. Okay. Or it can bring me Sugandha, nice fragrant. Oh, so beautiful. Fragrance is wafting in the air, like that they say. And so that fragrance also can come. Or it can bring Durgandha also. Correct? But what about Akasha? Is Akasha and Vayu constantly fighting? Hey, you are constantly carrying the Durgandha and spoiling me. I am the all-pervasive Akasha and I've done so much and is this the way to thank me? No. Akasha will not complain because Akasha is unaffected, asangaha. Unaffected by this Vayu. By whatever the Vayu carries, it doesn't matter. Akasha is Akasha, unaffected. That is why when the Vayu goes away, Durgandha can go away also. Akasha remains. Okay. So this is the example that's being talked about. We'll continue this the discussion of the shloka, which will वायुः सर्वत्र गः महान् तथा सर्वाणि भूतानि मत्स्थानि इति उपधारय. We'll cover all these things in the next class. Okay. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you.